Thanks for joining. Thanks for everybody for attending. I'm going to let Nicole kick off, and then we will start today's webinar.
Righty, perfect. Thank you guys so very much. Hello and welcome to the ROI of Blended AI Human Models, the winning formula. Please make sure your microphones are muted, and also know we will allow for time at the end for Q&As. But in the meantime, please help me welcome our guest speaker, Melissa Eaton. She is a strategic customer service experience and operations executive with over 20 years of leadership and startups, hypergrowth companies, and a Fortune 500 firms. Melissa is a digital first leader with a proven track record of leveraging AI-driven solutions to experience customer loyalty and operations, such as insurance and fintech. Throughout her career, from her roles of head of CX of Gusto to building post-sales operations from over 150 in 3 years at Pi Insurance. So please join me in welcoming Melissa Eaton and Skip. And Melissa, I'll let you go ahead and take it from here.
Thanks, Nicole. Oh, and Melissa, thanks for taking the time today. It's been a while since we've had coffee up in Red Rocks.
Yeah, love it. Love it up here in the mountains.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share some insights and also learn a little bit from everyone else.
Yep, we're going to put you on the hot seat and learn at the same time. So let us proceed with Viga. Melissa, you work mostly within the insurance industry in previous roles, demonstrate that track record that Nicole already spoke about when it comes to delivering exceptional customer outcomes. What initially drew you to the intersection of AI and human-centric design?
So my journey into AI wasn't really about the technology itself. It was born from my passion, which is customer experience. So really watching two groups of people struggle, the customers in their most vulnerable moments and our frontline agents who are drowning in complexity. Insurance is not easy. So people in insurance, also our customers, don't call us if they're having a good day, right? They call during a moment of truth, after a car accident, a basement flood, any sort of disaster, a crisis, actually. And in those moments, that's when they need most is a calm, empathetic expert to guide them. But too often, our CSRs were trapped behind their screens, frantically clicking through 14 different screens just to verify a policy to start a claim. This very technology was supposed to help them, but it was preventing them from being human. So that's really when it started to click with me. AI's highest purpose isn't to replace our people, it's to rescue them from this digital operational grind. So I became drawn to the idea of AI as a strategic partner, not a replacement. And imagine a customer has a claim, is in a car accident. Instead of a simple chatbot giving them a claims number, an AI agent springs into action, your virtual agent springs into action in the background. It instantly verifies all of the policy information, their coverage, pre-fills the claim, which actually, unfortunately, most claim forms are very long. Ours started at 14 pages of information, but all of that is something that can be found easily because we all have that information in our data sources. So by the time a human claims customer service rep joins the call, they aren't starting from scratch. Wouldn't that be nice? The screen's already pre-filled. They immediately can say, I see you had an accident on I-70. I've already started the claim. I'm so sorry this happened. What can I do? Are you okay? And are you okay that's just 3 words, but it's really important in building that trust with the customer at that moment. That is, like I said, the moment of truth. So that's the shift we're talking about. We're talking about AI as a tool that helps to answer questions to an intelligent teammate that handles the logistics of despair. So it's about using tech to guarantee that when a human being is on the line with another human being in crisis, you're actually having that human being, that CSR, fully present, empathetic, focused on delivering on the promise. That's what we wanted from our insurance call centers. Now, most companies today, over 80%, McKinsey did a study, are dabbling in AI in some format. So you can use a bot here, some automation there, but simply having AI technology isn't the same as being truly invested in the human-centric model, which is what we're talking about. The real question isn't, do you have AI? Because I think most people say yes. It is your AI designed to make your people more human and your customers more heard? So that's the endeavor worth selling your entire business on. So
That's a great answer. You actually answered my next question, which we talk about, automation. I use automation more than AI because
mm-hmm.
Anyway, reshaping customer.
You're a tech head, so yeah.
Automation, anyway, but reshaping customer care, right? And as you just expressed, and as you've noted in some of your leadership panels, over reliance erodes trust.
Right.
It's kind of, and Phil, jump in at any time as well. It's kind of the mistakes we used to make when we were designing IVRs with too many trees, right? We created frustrations points instead of wow points. So I love the way that you expressed how to recommend those tools, how to integrate those tools with the collection of contact center agents so that you still have that personal experience and still be able to deliver exceptional service. And you also touched on not only the customer side, but also the agent side to help these things.
Right.
I wish I had those tools when I was an agent. I don't know how many people know, but I used to answer calls for the phone company.
I think that's where we all started, and that's where that passion comes from,
yeah.
right? And so to me, the strategies that you need to integrate AI without losing your team and that personal human touch and that connection are really important. And that's fundamental to what we're talking about today. I mean, to me, the biggest fear and also the biggest mistake is treating AI like a replacement for your human conversation, right? The goal isn't to build a wall of automation. No one likes that, but to design a seamless partnership and a seamless customer experience. My core strategy is to use AI as an empathy engine, not as an answer engine only. For instance, you can program an AI agent now to be a critic AI, specialized in critiquing, to act as a coach for those human agents. So imagine, and I think we've done this in call centers where you have templates for answers and responses to frustrated customers, right? To escalations. But before the agent sends it, it goes through this critique, right? And the critique might flag it and say, based on what the tone of the caller was or the tone of the email language, right? This reply feels very robotic, very scripted. Doesn't feel, you might want to consider adding something that makes it more human. So add your own touch. And this is something that I used to say to my CSRs all the time. Instead of having a script, we actually had talking points. And I would say to them, out of the 5 talking points, you need to at least hit 3 of them. And I didn't give you a script. So say them in the way that feels most natural for you based on the interaction you're having. Talking to somebody from Oklahoma versus talking to somebody from New York City is very different, right? Yeah. The person from Oklahoma wants to invite you to the fire station for pancake breakfast. And the person in New York is like, just give me my money, right? They don't want to, it's not the same conversation. So again, knowing that, how do you interact? So how do you use AI to help you so that you can be at your best, you can be consistent, and the reply is accurate, but it doesn't feel robotic. It feels like, I understand you're in a very bad place. Let me help you. And that creates a powerful partnership and collaboration. AI handles with speed and the data behind it. The human provides the heart and the judgment. So instead of losing that personal connection, we're actively using tech and technology to protect and enhance it and ensure that even at scale, every customer feels heard, not just handled.
So that makes a great segue. And either I did a great job of putting the questions together or you're psychic, Melissa. I'm not sure. But you talked a little bit about, all right, let's not necessarily try to leverage AI to replace people. And we're hearing some of that noise. We heard more of it, I think, early on. And then we're also hearing things like CEOs say, go get me some AI. And we're like, okay, what for? So maybe expand a little bit on some of the most common pitfalls and how leaders can mitigate these pitfalls, right, to ensure gains.
Well, you did scare me when in your reminder to everyone to join the call that you said you were going to grill me. So I had to come prepared, Skip. So I just want you to know I was a little nervous. I was like, this is a lunch and learn. I thought I was
The
just going
hot seat.
get to ramble because Skip knows I like to talk. I like to hear myself talk. But in my experience, so you've actually kind of hit it. To me, the biggest pitfall isn't really technical because there's so many technologies out there that you can advance in your operations. It's really a leadership mindset that I call kind of the completion illusion, right? So it's the belief that launching a basic chatbot, like everybody has, 80% of the people have, means you've done it. You have AI. And you can tell the board, we have AI. Great, we're good. The truth is that's just the beginning. So for me, they're kind of three common traps that people can get into that derail your success in this field. And that's the set it and forget it trap, treating AI like a piece of software or technology that you install rather than a new team member that you mentor, right? So like you would never hire an employee, a CSR, for example, and never give them feedback, right? You're constantly giving them feedback. They're getting coached. You have a performance coach. You have a QA auditor. You have all of these mechanisms to give them feedback. So really, the fix for that would be really to create a continuous feedback loop within your AI tool, right? So empower your agents to flag anything in AI that doesn't feel right or does feel right. Is a great learning experience to share with your human agents. This turns your team into AI trainers, constantly refining the system and the process and building that partnership and collaboration between the two. The other is the human resistance trap, rolling out new AI tools without addressing the fear and uncertainty it creates. So I'm a big change management catalyst and I'm a big champion of change management. I think it can't be said enough that if your people are afraid about being replaced, they're going to spiral.
Yeah.
And that won't help you in any way in your operations, in your customer experience, in getting that technology to succeed, because guess what? It just is going to be this death spiral for the company. So you have to be transparent. You have to frame AI again as a partner, as your virtual assistant. They're helping you, right? They handle the tedious work. They handle the things like data entry, form filling, after call work stuff, right? So your employees can focus on the complex, rewarding human things and the puzzles that they're hired to solve, right? They're hired to do these things. So that to me is really important. And again, connecting the dots on why you're bringing these tools in is to help to energize and amplify their role in the organization, not to diminish it and take it away. Then there's the the silo trap. Is everybody knows what silos are because we all live in those. So deploying AI and technology and operational changes, and I'm not just going to pick on AI because it's not just AI, but any operational changes in data silos. So your AI agent can't access customer history across these different silos for billing, claims, support. That's a terrible thing, right? So if you're only in one section, if you're only in billing, you're only going to see that one thing. You need the entire picture to be able to kind of understand and diagnose what the problem is to solve. So it would be incomplete. It will frustrate the customer because they're like, why do I have to keep repeating myself? I just told the billing rep that this has happened, right? And it's a signal to a bigger issue. So to me, prioritizing integration, using secure AI wrappers to connect these data silos and also operational silos, giving your AI the full content of what it needs to be truly helpful is really important. So success with AI, honestly, is less about the algorithm and more about the people and the processes you build it around. It's a cultural shift, not just a tech upgrade.
Yeah,
So
it's
this is why you, Skip, you and I are like two partners in crime together.
yeah, absolutely. We'll be leveraging you with a lot of future engagements because it is. You cannot solve everything with just people. You can't do
Right.
it with just tech, and you can't do it with just processes. It has to
Right.
be a good mix of all the above. And then I think what you were touching on, Melissa, there's a culture aspect, right? So you're
Mhm.
you got somebody who has a very difficult job. When I was an I'm sorry, an agent, we went in to training, 125 of us. 40 made it out, and a year left, there was four of us left. So it was a constant churn and burn, as we all know, attrition in the industry. And so any shift in how they perform their job by just throwing tech at it, you know, influences that. So I think you touched on all those points very well. Before I ask my last question, and that's going to go out to our sponsor, Nice. Andy's there joining the call. Thank you, Nice. I want to open up for questions. I see a couple people I know on here that have leveraged things like Agent Assist, or if they want to add anything to this call, please feel free.
Hey Skip, we did
I,
have one in the chat actually. We may want to start with, and it's interesting, and I think it's Jobina, I think is your name. I think you're on the last Lunch and Learn, I believe. Your question actually, I think, goes towards what Melissa was just touching on, and my answer to that, and if anybody can't see it, it was, would it be better if workers had training on how to learn to use AI? My answer to that is absolutely.
yes.
And even taking it a step further, and this is just on my perspective, what NICE has done for us, giving your employees training, maybe it doesn't have anything to do with contact center, right? Because, Melissa talked about, I think you called it AI resistance, right? They're afraid it's going to take their job. So anything AI related, if you just introduce it in the contact center, you may see resistance. But if you can get them comfortable, like I use a virtual assistant on how to write baseball practices, wrestling schedules, meal plans, whatever it might be, to kind of make me comfortable in that space. So the way I would answer that is absolutely, and it doesn't need to even be associated with the contact center. Melissa, I don't know if you have thoughts on that as well.
Well, I wanted to add, thank you, Andy. That was a great question, Jamina. I think that I wanted to add also about tech partners. And so I really wanted to say that one of the other things, Skip, that we really should be focusing on is a collaborative tech review and really reaching out to your technology partners like NICE and using that for a conversation and opening the doors to talk about not just what that tool does for you, but ask, how does my platform help, or how does your platform, like how does NICE help us with AI and our human agents collaborate as a single unified team? And this will help, I would say bringing those reps into the conversations and knowing that they don't have anything to be afraid of. So demanding solutions that build bridges, not just walls. I think it's very important. I know I'm using words that people are like, okay, that's like fluffy stuff. But I do think it's really important that you use kind of an approach where you're saying, let's get them involved in the design, right? So asking the question, what workflow can we focus on that uses AI to create more space for our agents, right? For our CSRs, right? And let the CSRs tell you, like, I hate typing in the policy number. I hate having to like review all of the banking statements for the billing, blah 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 blah. So like let them tell you what the opportunities would be to do that. And it's really, like I said, it's really important to focus on doing this collaboratively with your tech partners, not just yourself. They have experience. Andy has experience with multiple different companies and they've seen it. They've seen it where it's failed. And ask them in your last four initiatives and your four partnerships, what were the things that caused things to not go, how did it go off the rails here? And
Yeah.
what were the things that really worked well? How did you add value? And how did you ensure that the culture and the change and the initiative stayed on target, that the ROI was there, that it actually happened? And I think, again, the more people you get involved at the get-go, the less fear mongering is going to go on, and you will have a more successful engagement.
Awesome, awesome. Phil, I'm going to put you on the hot seat because you've had some experience with agent assist, with tools, and with AI. Is there anything you want to add to that as far as maybe adoption and training or resistance?
Yeah, it kind of depends because when we adopted Agent Assist, it was very, very early on. And I have always been a champion that AI paired with humans is going to be where we find the differentiation. I mean, basically right now, deploying AI agents is kind of like deploying rather dumb human agents. And in a way, they both have almost similar restrictions on them. Now, they're different. And the nice thing is they complement each other. So humans really aren't good at remembering things. AI doesn't forget, but AI has no capability for empathy no matter how much programming we give it. And the problem is everybody knows that. So everybody can come out and say, "Hey, we've got this new AI that is the most empathic AI there ever is." Customer on the other end is still going to hear, "I'm sorry you had this experience." It unless you try and fool them and tell them that this is a human they're talking to, which I really don't recommend. I don't think that's a good thing. But one of the interesting things is we really had no guidelines in how to roll this out. I mean, and in some cases we actually allowed it to be the agent's choice because we wanted to kind of do you know, a A/B sort of test. My agent says he can beat the AI. Well, then by all means, beat the AI. And I mean, we did have to explain to
Yeah.
some agents that if you can't, you need to adapt. But if you can, I want to clone you. I mean, that's kind of the way you want to do it. And in a lot of ways, that makes it the collaboration piece, I think. And I think that's how we got a lot of buy-in by doing it that way, even from some of those who had to change their ways. But there were some that just never bought into it. And the problem is this is going to be the future. I think that, you know, first of all, I don't believe you'll replace all your agents. I think anybody that thinks they're going to replace all their agents is crazy. But what we will do is we will get rid of all of the easy stuff that made agents' lives kind of a little less hectic. And so those agents are really going to have the very best assistance, whether it be, tie-ins to the CRM so they don't have to do after call work, whether it be, auto dispositioning of the calls or sentiment analysis so you don't have to do that. Anything that takes work off their plate that really is kind of extraneous to the actual job of focusing on what the customer needs. I think those are tools that are going to be super critical if we're going to make this all successful because in my opinion, if I was going to automate 75% of my workflow, I think I could get rid of maybe 35% of my agents, most of whom I would probably have to reposition into training the bot or quality monitoring. Because here's the thing, I ran into two examples of AI while I was traveling this past month. The first one was a replacement bot for the operator at the hotel that we were staying at. It failed 100% of the time over the 2 weeks that we were there. I always had to talk to a live agent. All that did was annoy me and put another layer of basic uselessness in front of actually getting to help. So that didn't do any good. The other one was far more disturbing, though. We had a personal emergency that cut our trip short. And in dealing with all of the stress around that, I called, it was either a hotel or the airlines to change the reservation and literally had the AI tell me, "I'm sorry, I can't understand you. Please try your call again later," and hung up.
Yeah.
We can't have that.
So
Do not hang up on a
hear what you're saying,
customer.
Phil.
Why do we believe that this is a good thing? And the worst part is I've seen this in IVRs too.
Yeah.
You go to
Yeah.
Bank of America and you don't want to follow their little happy path, they hang up on you. They tell you to call back when you're more willing to be compliant to what they want.
It
It's
happens to
really
me
what
when I'm
they're
trying to
saying.
give folks money. I was trying to pay my credit card bill and I got hung up.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
no, I mean,
what I hear you saying, and this is kind of the overall theme, the blended approach is actually a way of injecting intelligence into
correct.
artificial intelligence. And we did that with AAA. We created a intelligent front door where the AI picks up, but the first question it asks is everybody okay?
Yeah.
We want humans handling an emergency situation, but appreciate anyone else. Court, thanks for joining the call. Are you getting what you need out of this, or did you have any questions, Court? Great to see you, by the way.
Yeah, hey Skip, good to see you too, sir. No, really enjoying the content today, and I think Melissa, something you said early on that is very aligned with how we think about just technology in general here at OtterBox, and not just AI, right? Is to free up the emotional energy that our
Mhm.
agents have so that they can focus that on the consumer and not just spin and waste all that emotional energy on I have to navigate this difficult system. I don't have information at my fingertips. That just makes the job so much harder, and is not like the right way for them to spend all that energy. And we're not great at it, but we're trying every day to make it better, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I do think that, getting back to the training and what Andy said about like, shouldn't we train our reps? Shouldn't they know about AI? I do think it's something within the ecosystem of the world today. It's everywhere. And it's one of those things that you're seeing, and I'm going to go into Skip knows this. I have 3 kids. When we talk about education, for example. So I was senior at CU engineering. Um, they got you have the value thing that you have to, the honor code. I was like, what is that called? The value thing, the honor code, right? That you have to sign. And she's in aerospace engineering. It's pretty hard. First freshman year when she was a freshman, she took a coding class that was required. And the professor said for the final, like froze all their grades, saying that she thought that they had cheated. Okay, it's a coding final. I would hope to God that these aerospace engineers who are building satellites and airplanes and things like that get the right answer, right? But it was interesting because she was adamant that she thought that they had cheated, like 600 kids, right? So well, my daughter had, she was like freaking out. She was like, "Oh my God," la la. And the TAs were like, "No, we're going to get this worked out. It's going to the dean. It's very obviously, not that the situation. It's the idea that you're not going to utilize the tools that everybody is utilizing today. So I used to get kind of mad when I would take like trig or calculus classes and they'd say you can't use a calculator. It's like, in what life am I not going to have a calculator, right? That kind of thing. So I think that we need to use the tools that are presented, but we need to do that and craft a community like in our office spaces, in our operations, that is a safe haven for understanding how to utilize that tool. So if if you're not utilizing AI to help, your operations, and you're not providing the right context to your team, you're creating an environment where they're still going to be utilizing it. It's
Yep.
just not going to be under your purview. And that's dangerous to me, especially in like, I've been in very regulated fields. So, like in payments, in insurance, and things like that, you have to have certain things have to be done. So, if you're allowing a free for all for your agents, that's not going to work. And I'm not, and again, like, where is ChatGPT and OpenAI getting all their information? Is it off of Wikipedia? Is it, where are they getting their information? So like you really want to help curate that story and ensure that you're getting the best information to your customers and the best information and help to your agents that you can, so that they can be the experts, they can be the guides, they can be the trusted advisors in all of, and you think about it as our customers today are so savvy, like everybody expects things handled immediately. They Google it, they YouTube it, right? You're all now plumbers, you can fix your own, that kind of thing. So we really need to think about that this is the environment that we're living in today, and to be able to provide the right kind of customer experience in the fields that we're all in is really important, that we utilize the tools that are available to us. So if you're not on board, you're going to get left behind.
Awesome. Awesome. We got to wrap up, Melissa. We're causing people to have to pay them overtime here in a bit. But great point. So today we talked about understanding and being able to intelligently leverage ROI. Phil, thanks for your contributions on that. Melissa also talked about effective strategies for implementing AI and doing that with the level of intelligence across the organization. She also touched on common pitfalls and some of the mix and recipe for a winning formula and how to make it more effective, and that one doesn't replace the other. We talked about people, process, and technology. You take one out and the whole system goes down. One piece of short advice that you can offer these leaders on how to navigate this type of transformation, Melissa, before we end.
I think that really it's about being open and understanding, and really being an empathy architect. So for, like I said, I would ask the question, where is it in our workflow and operations where we can use AI to create more space for human empathy and shift the conversation from just pure efficiency ROI to engineered compassion?
That's perfect. That's perfect. Look, we will send a recording to this call to your inbox. We'll also send a free guide that Nicole is putting together to give you ROI calculations, measurable ROIs, and other great strategies that we talked about today with Melissa. We do these monthly, and one of you will announce via email of who won today's free lunch via a Grubhub card. As always, really appreciate your time. We know everyone's busy. Thanks for joining and hope you can join again. Thank you.